jingle bells, jingle all the way. See, I like jingling because it sounds like money. I'm here at 301 Bar and Grill on Hope Road to catch up with CEO of VM Investments, Rezworth Burchenson. It's been a minute, so we have quite a bit to talk about. Let's get this money. Hey Rez, it's great to see you again.
Likewise, Kalilah, always.
And the last time I saw you, you were Victoria Mutual Group, and now you're VM Group. Different branding, different colors. What's that been like, that
Different
transition?
group altogether.
How so?
So the rebranding initiative started some years ago, and we have done quite a bit in the business. I mean, every single area of the business has been touched in terms of technology, in terms of people, in terms of training, in terms of systems. Lots of new products and services that we have launched. And we just thought that, how do we represent the Jamaican public to this amazing group going through a transformation? And the best thing to do is just do a total brand transformation. Mm-hmm. So that is what the intention is. I mean, everybody's excited. We've been getting lots of positive feedback from clients, from onlookers, from team members. And I think that will accelerate the transformation of the VM group. So we're very excited.
I can tell it's a lot more modern, which is what...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I think that's what I like
modern,
most about it.
trendy.
Trendy,
exactly,
yes, very cool.
Exactly.
Even a choice of color, grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
So
grapefruit.
non-traditional
It's not orange, it's grapefruit.
It's not red.
It's not,
I thought it was
not
red.
red. For sure it's not red. For sure it's not red.
Okay, grapefruit. I had to look that one up because I don't know how the paint color is. But yeah, I really like what you guys are doing with positioning the company for 2021 and beyond. Last time I spoke to you as well, I think we were talking about the Delta variant, and now we have the Omicron variant. Okay. What are your thoughts on that development, Rez?
Well, my view is that COVID will be around for a long time. Huh? I mean, no one knows when this thing's going to end. We have to learn to live with it. And I think that we're adjusting. When you consider our mindset this year vis-a-vis last year, we have made lots of changes. Persons are adjusting to remote work, remote school. We just need to live with it. I mean, when it leaves, we'll be all happy, we'll celebrate, but humankind must continue. We must work, we must do all the things to move us forward. And I think that's what the Jamaican population is doing, that's what the world is doing.
Let's talk economy a little bit before we come to company results, because your company doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? I was reading through the last report that was presented to shareholders and looking at what the environment was like at that time. And then you had the Jamaican dollar actually appreciated a little bit. Now it's back down. We also had more curfew restrictions. Now they're being relaxed for the Christmas period. What are your thoughts on the next few months to a year? What that will look like in Jamaica?
Sure. Well, let's take the view of the monetary authorities. Let's take the view of the IMF. I mean, the outlook for the Jamaican economy is very robust. I mean, I think that the outlook for GDP growth for next year is like 8% compared to the contraction in 2020. So I'm very optimistic. I mean, when you look at a very good indicator of econ performance, when you look at company results, you're seeing, revenue is growing, bottom line coming back. When you look at some of the companies that are directly related to the tourism sector, you're seeing revenues come back, you're seeing some activity on the North Coast. So I'm very optimistic.
Is there any particular sector that you think the recovery will hinge on? I heard you mention tourism.
Definitely tourism. Tourism is a major part of our economy. Lots of ancillary benefits to or linkages to the broader economy. You saw last year when the tourism numbers fell, how it impacted a lot of other sectors, distribution, retail, etc. So as the numbers come back, as persons globally get vaccinated and want to travel, when you look at the numbers for the airline industry, for the cruise industry, for the leisure industry globally, you're seeing some rebound. I think you're going to see some of that locally also.
So what are the opportunities you see for the group in the next year and for people who invest with your group?
So let's talk about some of the products offered by VM Investments Limited. So our goal is to ensure that our clients create, grow and sustain their wealth. So where are the opportunities? We see opportunities in equities. We're talking about equities just now. What are the companies that will do well next year? That's one. Secondly, what about the real estate space? I'm not talking the residential space. I'm talking the commercial space. So we have a property portfolio. It's a market-leading commercial property portfolio in Kingston for 3 years running, 2018, 2019, and year-to-date 2021. The return is close to 10%. So that's a very good return considering the environment. To what extent are persons positioning in equities and also in real estate to capitalize on the upside next year and years to come? For persons who want to trade bonds, persons who want a Jamaican dollar bond or a US dollar bond, VM Wealth is here for you. But also, a number of principals and businesses have been really challenged by the pandemic, really challenged. And what we see is that they're going to need capital to recover. And capital can come in various forms. It can be debt or it can be equity. VM Investments Limited, we stand ready to play a role to recapitalize those businesses for them to move forward. So a business may say, based on where we are, we need capital, we want to do an IPO. We stand ready there. Or the company may say, Rez and team, we simply need some debt for restocking inventory, etc. But what it is, again, we want to play that role. Or somebody could say, I want to expand my business. My competitor over there is going out of business. I see an opportunity to buy that business. Again, we stand ready to play that role to help both retail clients but also corporate clients to move forward.
With inflation now at 8% and apparently growing, we don't know what's going to happen, these supply chain issues. Does the group and do we as investors need to be more aggressive?
That's a very good question. So a number of persons really need to assess where they're invested. And I think that has been the problem of many Jamaicans over the past 40 years, is that we are invested, but we're not keenly aware of the real returns that investment is generating. So they invest, and 5, 10, 15 years, they look at the value of their investments, and something is wrong. I think now is an opportunity for Jamaicans who are saving and investing to really look at what are the opportunities to generate real returns over the medium term. So it doesn't mean that there won't be occasional blips, in an off year, but I think now is the opportunity for a person to say, where do I need to invest to create wealth?
And where is that?
Okay, it's very simple. It's asset allocation. So what does the research say? It simply says it, and it's very simple. And I encourage our people to read more, to engage your wealth advisor, to engage professionals. Over the past 40 years, the best performing asset class is equities. Second best is real estate. Where are you invested? That's a question I need to ask persons. Where are you invested? I'm not saying that everybody should go tomorrow, take everything from their account and put it in equities. But there needs to be an allocation to some of these asset classes that will provide better rates of return over the medium term. Right? Too many Jamaicans over the past 40 years have seen their wealth decimated because they are not properly allocated. But however, we have seen a number of persons who have capitalized on these wealth creating opportunities over the past. Let me give an example. I always say the Jamaican equities market survived democratic socialism, that's experiment, structural adjustment, Hurricane Gilbert, FinSac, JDX 1, 2, 3, 4, the US international global recession in 2008, and
now COVID.
And persons who are investing in equities, over the long term, it's not a 1 month or 2 month, over the long term, they're doing well. I have proof of that. I have clients who can give testimony to that. So I'm just saying to persons, we're in a different era. And if you really want your hard-earned money to keep pace and to provide that lifestyle that we all aspire to, you have to really look at how your monies are invested.
I believe you. You're preaching to the converted when you're talking to me,
Sure,
of course. And I think your performance is testimony of that as well. 69% improvement in net profit over the past 9 months. Tell me how that was achieved.
So first, kudos to the amazing team at VM Investments and VM Wealth. I'm privileged to lead a team, the management team, hardworking, very strategic, very diligent, and committed to execution and committed to excellence from the management team all the way down in the organization. So kudos to the team. So one of the things that we do is just to create a framework to ensure that we're tracking and monitoring the key results, that's one, but also what extent are we building a business that will support that growth, secondly. Thirdly, to what extent is the people, our valued employees, are they growing in the organization? So there are a number of things that, every time we meet, these are the themes that we're discussing. But also to look about, what's next? Where else is the industry going? And there are some exciting trends emerging for the next 5 to 10 years. So obviously, we want to play that role going forward.
Yes, and congratulations on that achievement as well. You also had an investment grade rating from Caracas, which we did talk about last time we spoke, but you've leveraged that to raise $2.3 billion in capital.
Sure.
What are you going to do with that?
Okay, the objective of Caracas was that we needed to show the Jamaican and the Caribbean that we are a strong institution. So that was the reason why we did the rating. And then we said that must be used to accelerate the growth of the business. So the capital that we have raised is simply to accelerate our lending initiatives in the organization, whether it be margin loans, whether it be lending to corporates, whether it be lending to individuals, whatever it is, we need capital to grow. So that's one way of us accessing capital to move the business forward. Various different things, but it's all towards ensuring that our clients are growing and that we can facilitate that growth.
Okay. You mentioned real estate earlier, being the return on that being almost 10%. I think it's 9.78%.
Whoa, thank you.
Yeah. Looking at your numbers. And you mentioned specifically commercial real estate. Mm-hmm. So why commercial?
I would say we have some biases in the business. We believe commercial is largely ignored, that's one, and we believe that commercial is more scalable than residential. But we're flexible. Perhaps next year we'll do a residential real estate fund, you never know. Perhaps next year we'll do a residential or commercial real estate development fund. Mm-hmm. We're not sure, we're very flexible. And what we do is that we look at the market, we look at what our investors are asking for, and then we try and provide a solution to capitalize on that opportunity. But in the commercial space, there are certain advantages that we like in the commercial space. So obviously, we're kind of playing to our strengths.
Kingston primarily?
Kingston primarily. So our locations for property fund is New Kingston. We have 2 buildings. We have a transformation that we're doing for some units on Hertfordshire Road. We have an exciting acquisition that will be closed next January for the property fund, and we have another location in Montego Bay.
You are acquiring Republic funds in Barbados as well. You can update me as to the progress. I don't know if it's complete yet or how far you are with that.
Sure. So you remember last time we met, I hinted that something was coming. You wanted to know what.
Yes.
So it has landed. I mean, it's been a long journey, challenging, but we're here. It took, a long negotiation to get us here. Republic funds is simply, when we look at the business, what we did was that we said, what are some of the competencies that we have in Kingston? And obviously, asset management is a key competence of ours. We've been doing investment management and asset management for the past 20 years. So obviously, as we reviewed the opportunities in the Caribbean, we said, that opportunity, we can leverage our asset management competence to kind of grow that business. And that's what we did. We're very excited. Barbados is an economy where the GDP per capita is much higher than Jamaica. a market which is growing and developing. I believe that a lot of the things that the financial industry would have done in Jamaica to move us forward can be leveraged in Barbados. So we're obviously excited about that opportunity. It's our first major acquisition outside of Caroline in 2 years.
So tell me a little bit more about what Republic Funds actually does. What is their business model? Does it align with VMIL?
It certainly does. So let's just reflect on VM Wealth Management, which is the broker-dealer in VM Investments. So we have a unit trust portfolio. I think we have 9 funds, all doing well. The property fund is leading. And it's simply, we do asset management. You give us the money, you says, I don't have the time to monitor the equities market or the real estate market or the bond market. We have specific funds dedicated to those asset classes. So we have some competence that we have in Kingston. Republic Fund is a similar business. In Jamaica, we call it unit trust. Over there,
mutual fund.
We call it mutual fund. Some nuances based on the law, but it's essentially the same thing. So
they mostly do mutual
funds. They do mutual funds. But it's an asset management business. They're managing assets for the unit holders or the clients. So they have 3 portfolios. We simply are going to leverage that competence in terms of to grow the returns, to show that market our investment prowess, to grow that business.
But how active are investors in Barbados? Because I know their equities market isn't as active as the one here in Jamaica.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, it is not as active as Jamaican market, but our mindset is different. The Jamaican equities market 10 years ago, 15 years ago, wasn't as active as it is now. And I think that we have done a number of things, both VM Wealth and other dealers, to kind of grow that space. We see it as an opportunity. What's the penetration of investors that invest in unit trusts there vis-a-vis here? Much lower. But we believe that the marketing skills, the marketing programs, the awareness programs that we have done in Kingston to kind of elevate the Jamaican situation can be leveraged in Barbados.
I feel like I have so much to congratulate you on, Rez. You launched the IPO Edge platform.
Correct.
How's that going?
We haven't had an IPO or APO.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah, but at least we have the functionality.
It's there for when the next one
It's
comes.
important for us because it's a key element of competitive positioning. So whenever there's a bid for an APO, IPO, we need to be able to say that we have that competence also, or that technology also.
And that's the trend. That's the way to go. Use the technology.
Agreed.
Everything needs to be paperless in 2022.
Yeah. And it makes the process a lot more efficient. It makes the refunds easier, and it shortens the timeline for the company to eventually list and start to trade.
Absolutely. And speaking of efficiency, your team has also won Best Financial Advisory Team in the Caribbean.
The Caribbean.
Congratulations.
So it's a VM group win, but certainly, we have advisors in the group. I think we have about close to 30 advisors. So we're very pleased. I must give commendations to a special unit that was launched in VM a couple years ago called the Group Sales Effectiveness Unit. And that unit was launched because we wanted to raise the productivity of our sales infrastructure and also put in a better sales infrastructure. So, we're kind of heartened that having done that investment, we're kind of seeing the fruits of that investment one about now.
Yep, put in the work, you reap the rewards.
Exactly.
Speaking of putting in work, you have done some work on the CSR front, corporate social responsibility. Tell me what you've been up to.
Okay, sure. So we've done a number of things. One of the things that the Corporate Governance Committee did earlier this year was that it approved a CSR policy. And, CSR is no longer the trendy word, but at least we have one. I mean, next year we'll pivot to ESG, youth empowerment, leadership, and a number of pillars. A number of things that we have done this quarter is that there is an environmental initiative in Negril. We supported it. But I think we're very pleased that we actually launched a scholarship this year. The scholarship is named the VM Investments Limited Maurice C. Robinson Business Scholarship. It's recognizing Mr. Robinson, who was a former chairman of VM Wealth. But I think what we're trying to do is that there are obviously a lot of bright persons that are going to university. We want to play that role for that person to self-actualize. And the scholarship is not only business and management in terms of the discipline you're studying, but also data management and data analytics, which we believe is going to be very important in the future.
Training the next generation.
Training the next generation.
I love it. Well, Rez, cheers to 2022 and beyond.
Thank you very much.
More dividends.
More
profits.
gains, more profits, and all the best.
All the
Thank
best.
you very much.
Let's get this money.